Hi, everyone. I am Donna Reed, and this is Donna Reed Talks Voice. And today I will be working with Priya. Hi, Priya.
Hi, good afternoon, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for participating. I really appreciate it. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself, what you sing, and all of that?
Of course. Lover of all types of genres of music. When I was young, through my adolescence, I studied with several classical voice teachers. I had a great range, but I felt my range didn't translate as well as I'd like it to my singing. Over the years, I've really shifted more to just singing and songwriting, more soul, indie, and pop music. And I've been exposed to Cornelius Reed's teachings. I've been watching your videos throughout the pandemic, and I'm just so grateful to meet you and have this lesson with you.
Great, wonderful. Just to let everyone know, this is the very first time I'm meeting Priya. So I have no idea what her voice is like, what's going on. It's actually one of my favorite things to do because one of the things I love so much about teaching is working out the puzzle. So what is the voice doing? How can I make it freer? What's it do? How's it doing this? How's it doing that? And so we just kind of go with the flow and see what's happening. So since I don't know your voice at all, we're just going to start the way I start just about everybody who I've never worked with before, very simply with an ooh vowel, just so I could see what the head voice part is doing. Since you have watched my YouTube channel, you've read my husband's books, then you know about the registers and about the head voice and the chest voice. Let's just see what your head voice is doing. So those three notes with an ooh and see where it goes. Great. Now, all of that seems very easy. Anything feel tight?
No, not tight.
No. Okay. Good, good, good. Tell you what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you do a staccato, but then come down legato. Ooh. Does that feel a little better?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. Okay.
It's much easier for somehow.
Okay. And I'll tell you why. I usually start everybody with the breathing out and then breathing in, which I didn't do with you. I'm going to do that now. And then while you're doing that, so you just exhale, you inhale as you bring your arms up, take your time, you exhale, and I'll explain what was going on with that.
Thank you.
So I noticed a little something, something on one of the top ones. I think it was maybe the D or something. And I said, it sounds like it's slightly under the pitch. So what happens is if it's a little bit under the pitch that way, I thought maybe something in the abdominal area was getting, and that's good. You could stop the breathing before you get too lightheaded. So I thought if it's a little teeny tiny under the pitch, something in the abdominal area might be getting tight. So I
Okay.
just loosen it up by having you do a staccato. And by doing
Thank
the
you.
staccato, to me, the everything sounded freer. Now,
Yeah.
I know, as you said, you've read Cornelius's books, you've been watching my YouTube channel. So, okay, you've read a little bit, but you understand the idea. And
Yeah.
you know that he doesn't talk about breath support. I don't talk about breath support. And the whole idea about the belly breathing and the getting tight and the whole thing that only just messes everybody up. I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again and again and again. The lungs are way up here. So the
Yeah.
breathing has to be high. We can't help it. We get involved with the lower part of our torso. It just wants to get involved. It wants to do this. It wants to help us sing. even if you don't think that, that's what our bodies want to do. So what I love about the staccato is that because this is going bounce, bounce, bounce with the staccato, you can't get tight with it. So that's why
Okay.
it feels freer. Just giving you the why, because you said, yeah, that felt better. I wonder why. That's
Yes.
why.
Thank
So
you.
we're
And
going to do
I
that same
find,
thing. I'm sorry, say that again.
oh, I find I'm very tight. So that's really
And
helpful.
most people are, for whatever reason. And you're in New York City, right?
Yes.
I always say just because we live in New York City, our bodies are tight because we live
Yes.
here. You just take the subway, that's it. We're gonna be tight. We get off the subway, we're like, oh, all these people.
Yeah.
It's just a big city thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, but when we sing, exactly, we do the best we can to not be tight. If you feel your body's getting tight, exactly what you're doing right there, spontaneously on your own, you could just start to move around if you feel you want to. We're going to stick with the u staccato and then come down legato. And I'm actually going to take this lower and see where it wants to go. Yeah. I'm going to, it's the bottom one was slightly, slightly, slightly out of tune. I'm going to add the staccato on the bottom.
And that one feels
Exactly.
tight on the
That
bottom.
one felt tight. Oh,
Well,
interesting.
that note feels tight.
The bottom note. All
Yeah.
right, you notice how much head voice was on the bottom note. And when I had you do the staccato, it was a little bit more on the head voice side.
Right.
But that bottom note felt tight. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't hear it as tight, but I'm going to go with what you said. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to have you do it one more time the same way,
Okay.
but be very, very easy on the bottom. It's a staccato. It's going to be heady. It's going to be weak because it's an oo vowel. So it's an oo vowel in the chest voice area, and I'm having you do it with a staccato, which means it's going to be very, very weak. So put no
Okay.
pressure on it. Let's see if it's still tight. If it's still tight, I'll do something else. Still tight?
It just doesn't feel like it has it feels fragile, like it's like shaking.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's there's a difference between the fragile and the tight.
Yes.
So because, as I said, because it's a new vowel, and because that's a C sharp,
Mm-hmm.
just above the middle C, because it's an oo vowel, because it's a staccato on that note, and there's no chest voice in there, of course it's going to be fragile. That's normal for that pattern. Do you
Okay.
see? Now that's a note you will probably never sing under any circumstances. There's no piece of music where you would sing that weak sound on that note down there.
Right.
But I was just taking the head voice all the way down to see where it wanted to go. But now that
Okay.
we've done that, we're going to go to the chest voice. Well, I'm going to do it this way. Just one note on an ah in the chest voice. See what your voice wants to do. Ah. I'm guessing those don't feel so comfortable, right?
Still kind of fragile, shaky, but no
Right.
tension.
No,
Feels
I don't hear
free.
tension, but they're just not, you're right, they're not solid. In what I hear is, even though I said chest voice, there's actually too much head voice in the chest voice. All right, we'll fix that.
Okay.
We're going to go back to our staccatos. No, change my mind. You're going to do that on an ah staccato. So ah, 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 ah. See what happens. Oh, interesting. It's still on the head voice side. I'm going to go lower and just see where your
Okay.
voice wants to go. Now there's more chest voice coming in on the bottom note. Do you hear that?
Yes.
Now those have more body to them and those feel better, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So then let me ask you this. In the stuff that you're singing now, how much chest voice do you use? How much of a mix do you use? What kind of sound do you
Well,
normally
I'd
get?
like more fluidity in like the mix or like, the center of my range. I'm I tend to just be like um chest, but it's like a heady chest.
Yeah,
So
I hear that. Okay.
yeah.
And you would like more of a chesty chest.
Yeah, I would love to be able to bring my I would love to have a really strong chest voice that can come up much higher.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna fix that. All right. So let's work on that. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. You're gonna do the same staccato you just did. You're gonna do let's see. You're gonna do 2 times with an ah and the third time with an ah. So
Okay.
and know that the ah will feel very different from the ah. Let it be different. Just notice what happens. Now you notice the ah is a little different. It's a little quote unquote higher. The
Yeah, yeah.
cavity is a little bit more horizontal. The
Mm-hmm.
larynx isn't as low. It's a little bit of a different set, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna take that ah, and we're gonna do it this way, just the ah. Now allow those notes to go wherever they seem to want to go. Just
Okay.
hear that ah sound, ah, 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 and see what happens. And you had it on the third one. Did you hear?
Yeah. So more ah. I need more ah.
Yeah. So something kind of broke loose on the third one.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, and that's more chest voice. Now, as we're bringing this a little bit higher, you let me know if anything feels tight or if anything hurts or if anything's not doesn't seem right.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. And know that the top note is not quite going to be the same as the bottom note. There's going to be some kind of a mix. You go for the same idea, but and I don't want to say same place because they'll be in all different places, but you go for that same shape, you go for the same ah, and you just hear what happens and you keep it bright. Yeah, good, good, good. That lost it a little bit. Now you
Okay.
lost the ah and it got a little so you
Okay.
have to be careful that the ass stays bright, but not nasal. That one got a little nasal sounding. You have to be careful. I also noticed that you closed the cavity a little bit. You didn't
Okay.
quite keep the ah, 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 kind of went ah, ah, ah. And
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, especially with the ah vowel, in that little bit of closure, then it got a little nasally sounding.
Okay.
So this, remember the staccato and the staccato is kind of way back there somewhere. You may feel forward sensations. I don't know where you feel your sensations. Everybody feels sensations differently. You feel them
Mm-hmm.
wherever. That doesn't matter whatsoever. But the shape of the cavity has to stay ah, and the energy is way back there. I'm going to stop you. That's heady. That's going back to heady.
Okay. Think chest and ah.
Yeah, but no, but we're a little bit higher. Let me set it up so that it's easier for you.
Okay.
I'm going to start in a lower chest voice because that'll help you with it. So, it's way back there, wide cavity. See what happens. The first one was a little funky, but then you got it on the second one. We're going to do it again. You notice how your voice, as you said, the problem is it wants to automatically go into more head voice.
Yeah.
So the head voice is the easy part. I mean, you could do that. I'm sure when you are up here in the head voice, it's la 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 whatever, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This will, because you're not used to bringing the chest voice up in this way, this is going to take a little bit more work. Now, I
Right.
don't mean struggle, I don't mean push, just a little bit more work, probably more concentrative work than anything else.
Hmm.
So really bring that sound straight up. Ah, 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 ah. See where it goes. There you go, and try not to slow it down, because
Okay.
in slowing it down, I could tell you're trying to find it.
Okay.
And I'm going to quote my late husband, who was brilliant. He says, "This doesn't inform this, this informs this." So just be fast with the exercise, do it, and then be surprised and see what happens.
Okay.
So don't slow it down, even if the pitches are not right, because
Okay.
sometimes when we go fast, it'll go a little out of tune. Now, under these circumstances, I don't care if it's out of tune. It totally doesn't matter. We're just looking for the function of it. That's definitely better. Now, I'm going to guess when I ask you if it's weird, you're going to say it's weird.
It's just I guess I'm nervous about sounding crazy. So
And you know what? Again, that's another thing that I tell my students in the lessons. Sound
doesn't
crazy,
right.
sound weird. Let it go. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't absolutely matter, because we're working functionally, we're working technically. You're not singing a piece of music. Now, if it were a piece of music and it went wonky weird, we'd say, well, okay, you don't want to do that in a piece of music performing.
yeah.
But right now, we're just looking for the function. What can we do to get that chest voice in there that you want to get in there? So
Right.
let it be weird, because the muscles might not figure it out right away. So we're gonna do the same guy one more time. Give him a chance to figure it out. And you
Okay.
know what? Have the courage to sound let it be the worst note you've ever sung in your life.
Yes.
Totally doesn't matter. You see? Now when you let it go and not worry about the sound, that was the best sound you got so far.
Mhm.
That was good. And that was a very different kind of chest voice participation going in there.
Yeah,
Now, as
I
we
felt
go
it.
higher, every half step is going to be very different. Again, have the courage to let it sound like whatever.
And can you tell me about like my mouth? Is it okay that I'm doing this, or should I let it go?
Absolutely. Now, I'll tell you
Okay.
what, and because we're bringing in an aggressive chest voice, if you look at any of the belters, gospel singers, jazz singers, musical theater people, the best ones, if you look at them when they're singing, their mouth shape is, they're
Hmm.
doing, especially the wailers, the ones who really do. You know what? Look at, I don't know if you saw the Aretha Franklin movie, Respect.
I have to watch it.
Oh my God, it's so
So I
good.
will.
It's just
Yes.
so good. Aretha Franklin and, oh my God, her name is escaping me, who does the role?
Oh,
Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer
thank
Hudson,
you,
thank you.
Jennifer
Oof,
Hudson.
my brain fart. You know, it's like, what? Thank you, Nellie. Yes, her. If you watch them when they sing, it's this big, wide open, and they're getting more of that aggressive chest voice. Now,
Yes.
when you do your music, it's not always going to be that way. But when you want this kind of belty, more aggressive chest voice, it definitely has to lean toward the which is what we're doing right now. But again, if you're singing a ballad, if you're in the middle, it's not always going to be that.
Right.
But give it a shot and just be very aggressive with it. Let it be wide. Let it
Ah.
feel weird, uncomfortable. Okay?
I'm going up now.
2 times on the
Okay.
staccato. Same thing.
Oh my gosh, this vowel is very hard for me.
But you know what? The other one that where you held the top, that top note sounded very good.
Okay.
That was excellent. And you notice that what you're doing, which I'm not stopping you, it's absolutely fine. You're doing very much of a glottal, which is
Yeah.
fine for what we're doing here. Now, a lot of teachers will say, oh, don't ever sing a glottal. But there are times when you can use it. What this is doing is it's bringing the vocal cords together and it's giving you more chest voice. Because one of the reasons why you get a lot of head voice is the vocal cords aren't coming together close enough. So when there's
Mhm.
just that little bit of a part, then you get more of the ah, instead of ah. And that
Mm-hmm.
that little glottal helps bring them together. Now, you don't want to do that all the time. If
Right.
somebody in their speaking voice constantly does in there, then it might give you all kinds of problems with that. But right now, it's helping the chords come together. And when you're singing a piece of music, there may be times when you have a word that starts with a vowel, an and or an at or an in or an other or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and you want a glottal, and sometimes you don't. You want to go
Right.
and or at or whatever instead of and or at. It's a choice. Well, right now we
Right.
want this glottal. I'm going to have you do one more, and I'm going to have you do the same thing you did before that you did very spontaneously and lovely. You're going to
Okay.
do ah. Hold that second one a little bit. And again, real glottal ah. Let it sound terrible. Don't expect anything. Just broad broad ah. See what happens. Now, that sounded lovely, lovely, but that was more head voice.
Okay.
You notice that?
Yes. Yes. It's hard for me to keep the chest up.
Of
Yeah.
course it is. I'm going to fix it so that you keep the chest. Um, and again, nothing wrong with that sound. That was great. And you could sing
That's
that
usually how I sound, like that.
with that. All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to add a note on the bottom. Same thing. So start real chesty. See, think. Let me put it this way. Think that you're bringing that chest voice straight up. It will not feel like that. I'm sure you're not going to bring this chest voice straight up because you can't. It's an impossibility, but you have to think it. So be
Okay.
real aggressive with it. And then hold the second one and just see what we
Okay.
get. You don't have to come down after that. You can just stop on that one.
Okay.
Almost. Now you need to be a little bit more aggressive here. Let me have you do this one again. Wait, do this first. But don't lose the staccato. Now, that's much more chest voice, right?
Yes.
Make sure you start with that. And I don't know what the top two are going to do. You're going to pretend that it's going to be chest voice,
Yes.
but you have to start with those bottom three chest voice. Go for it. Let it be weird. Let it be strange. And that's more chest voice. That's a different mix.
I can feel it happening. It's not the sound yet, but yeah.
Exactly. And this is just the beginnings of the sound. Then you'll
Right.
modify it slightly to get a sound that you're going to sing with, because you're not going to sing
Right.
exactly with this sound. But this brings that chest voice up for you. It gets that chest voice up there and doesn't have it switch over to the head voice. But you notice how easy it is. And it doesn't quite feel chesty, but it's a different kind of a mix.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how you want to work this. Now, let me ask you a question. When you studied classically, did you have, you said you had a big range. Did you have the notes above a high C?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, do you still have the notes above a high C?
I have them, yes. But do I sing well up there? No. But
Okay.
vocalizing, I have them.
Okay. Now, go for broke here.
Sure.
Okay, just, it doesn't matter what happens. Again, let it be the worst thing you've ever sung in your life. Have the courage. I'm going to quote my late husband again, Cornelius Reed, the brilliant man he was. Have the courage to be bad, because you have to have the courage to be bad before you can be good.
Thank you.
So we're going to start high, high. You're going to do this. On and ah. Just let it fly. Come down 2 octaves. See what happens. Breathe and sing. Well, now, how nice was that for the high C?
Not bad.
So what I find is when you get that right mix, when you bring that little bit more aggressive chest voice up and you get the right mix, it helps these high notes up here. Always
Mhm.
does. And then those are
Right.
more solid. You don't even have to think about them.
Right. I don't even remember if what we just did. So
Exactly. You see? Then when you listen back, you'll hear it. And you'll say,
okay.
wow, was that the high C? How did that happen?
Right.
And it was so easy. It was like you were
Yeah.
doing nothing when you sang it. And
Right.
all because we got that nice chest voice mix in the middle. But that's the
Mhm.
way you want to work it. That was
Yes.
that was brilliant. Obviously, you have an amazing voice. You just have
Thank
to,
you.
re-coordinate these things a little bit and get that
Yeah.
chest voice in there in this way. That "a" is going to be your saving grace with that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you for participating. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll be following and yes, thanks, Donna.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for watching Donna Reed Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareedtv.com and click Contact.